You've studied for hours, but the next day, you forgot almost everything. This isn't lack of effort. It's your brain working against you. Science calls this the forgetting curve, and it erases 70% of what you learn in just 24 hours. But in Japan, students memorize over 2,000 complex symbols and keep them for life. How do they succeed while we forget even the basics? The secret isn't studying more, it's using the right method. Common methods like rereading and highlighting only trick your brain. The Japanese technique activates memory definitively and can transform your results. Today, I'll reveal how to apply this in simple steps. You ever wake up on exam day remembering nothing you studied? That panic isn't coincidence. Your brain has an automatic cleaning system that wipes 70% of information in just 24 hours. Science calls this the forgetting curve, discovered by Hermann Ebbinghaus over 130 years ago. While you sleep, your brain sweeps into trash everything it considers irrelevant or poorly stored. But there's a group of people who completely bypassed this natural trap. In Japan, 6-year-old children start memorizing over 2,000 complex symbols, called kanji, and never forget them again. How do they record such complex information forever? While you forget where you left your keys, the answer will shock you. The problem isn't your memory capacity, it's your study method. Rereading, highlighting, and summaries are your retention's biggest enemies. These create processing fluency illusion. You read the text for the third time, recognize words quickly, and think, now I know this. But recognizing isn't remembering. Your brain is on autopilot, processing without storing. Have you caught yourself rereading the same page without absorbing anything? Your brain treats familiar information as learned, skipping the work of encoding it into long-term memory. The Japanese discovered something revolutionary centuries ago. They don't memorize kanji through repetition. Instead, they break each symbol into meaningful stories and visual components connecting to emotions. Take the kanji for tree. It looks like a tree with branches. Forest uses 3 tree symbols together. Your brain remembers stories and patterns, not isolated facts. This is elaborative encoding, opposite of everything you've been taught. Instead of mindless repetition, you create rich connections that make forgetting almost impossible. But here's where people mess up. They think this only works for visual learners. That's wrong. Your brain is already wired for this learning since birth. Remember learning your first language as a child. You didn't memorize grammar rules or vocabulary lists. You absorbed patterns through stories, emotions, and connections that made sense. The same applies to any subject you're studying now. Chemistry formulas, historical dates, or vocabulary. Your brain craves meaningful connections, not mechanical repetition through boring methods. Here's what happens when you use traditional study. Methods: information enters working memory, sits there briefly, then gets discarded because it has no emotional significance. But when you create stories and emotional connections, information travels from working memory into your hippocampus, where it gets stored in long-term memory permanently. The Japanese understand this pathway intuitively. Every kanji lesson includes historical background and visual storytelling that gives each symbol deep meaning beyond its literal translation. This isn't just about language learning. The same principle applies to every subject you've struggled. With math formulas, scientific concepts, historical events become easier when you create meaningful connections. Let me show you how to apply the Japanese memory method in 5 practical steps. These techniques will transform your studying, making information stick permanently instead of disappearing overnight. Step 1. Create vivid mental images for everything. Your brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text. This isn't motivation, it's neuroscience you can use immediately. Learning mitochondria is the cell's powerhouse. Picture a tiny power plant inside every cell with smokestacks pumping out energy. Make it ridiculous and memorable for better retention. Step 2. Connect new information to something you already know. This elaboration effect increases retention by over 200% in controlled studies. Learning about the American Revolution, connect it to family conflict. Colonists felt controlled by distant parents, making rules without understanding their daily struggles and needs. Step 3. Create acronyms for complex sequences. Ancient Greeks used these techniques for hours-long speeches without notes. They're still the most powerful memory tools available. For planet order, use my very educated mother just served us nachos. Each first letter corresponds to Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune in sequence. Step 4. Teach concepts out loud to someone or your pet. This forces your brain to organize information clearly and identify gaps immediately. When you can explain photosynthesis to your dog simply, you truly understand it. If you stumble, you've found where you need more focus. Step 5. Space out review sessions instead of cramming everything. This fights forgetting curve by refreshing memories before they fade completely. Review after 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 1 month. Each session should be shorter because information becomes more solidly embedded in memory. This spacing effect was discovered by Ebbinghaus, who identified the forgetting curve. Spaced repetition can make memories last decades instead of disappearing within hours. Step 6. Use active recall instead of passive recognition. Close your book and write down everything you remember. This struggle strengthens neural pathways. More than rereading, testing yourself feels harder than reviewing notes, which is exactly why it works better. Your brain grows stronger through the challenge of active retrieval, just like muscles grow through resistance training. Have you noticed how you remember song lyrics from years ago but forget yesterday's lecture? Songs use rhythm, emotion, and spaced repetition. Your brain treats them as important forever. The Japanese apply these principles to mathematics, science, and every academic subject. Students create elaborate stories, making abstract concepts feel concrete and memorable. A Japanese student learning molecular bonds doesn't memorize definitions. They imagine molecules as people at a dance, some holding hands loosely, others embracing tightly, each with distinct personalities. This isn't cultural difference. Brain scans show Japanese students activate more regions when recalling information. Their memories are richer, more connected, and resistant to forgetting. Medical students use similar techniques to memorize thousands of terms and procedures. They create vivid stories where each body system becomes a character in narrative. Drama.U can achieve the same results starting today. Stop highlighting passages hoping they'll become memorable. Stop rereading chapters 5 times expecting different results. Start building meaningful connections your brain wants. Every fact should connect to a story. Every concept should have visual representation. Every formula should relate to something familiar. Think about your biggest study challenge right now: formulas, dates, vocabulary, or concepts. You now have scientifically proven tools to transform how your brain processes information permanently. The forgetting curve that erased 70% of your learning can now work in your favor. With proper encoding and spaced repetition, information becomes stronger over time. Remember that panic when you couldn't recall anything on exam day, when hours of studying seemed wasted. That doesn't have to be your story anymore. Your brain isn't broken, defective, or inferior to others who seem to learn effortlessly. It was just waiting for the right instructions, the proper techniques that work with your natural neurological processes. What's the most important information you've been struggling to remember lately? Try these Japanese-inspired techniques and share your transformation in the comments. Your success story could inspire someone else to revolutionize their learning.